You ready to learn something new? Then let's do it! Here are 50 amazing facts to blow your mind. In 2012, the street artist Megs converted an old bridge in Wuppertal, Germany into a giant Lego structure using colored panels to create the illusion of the underside of Lego bricks. In most European countries, including Britain, declawing your cat is illegal. If you're caught declawing a cat in Israel, you can actually be sent to jail for a year and be fined $20,000. Scotland, Italy, New Zealand, and over 30 other countries have also followed suit. In New Zealand, it's illegal to own just one guinea pig because they are very lonely and social creatures. In fact, they have matchmaking companies to match up your guinea pig if their partner dies, which is part of a sweeping animals' rights legislation that was first introduced in 2008. If you live in Australia, you're 20 times more likely to drown than be bitten by a shark. In fact, to put it into perspective, you're significantly more likely to win the top prize in the lottery than even being involved in a shark accident of any kind. Humans are friends, not food. According to the World Health Organization, there are 360 million people in the world with disabling hearing loss. That's around 5% of the entire world's population. 32 million of them are children between the ages of 0 and 14. Luckily, things like captions exist, just like on this video. On July 13th, 1955, nightclub owner Ruth Ellis was the last woman to be executed for murder in Great Britain. She was hanged for killing her boyfriend, and it wasn't until 1965 that the death penalty for murder was banned in England, Scotland, and Wales. A study in the Journal of Current Biology found that those people who exercise 4 hours after learning something new retained the information better 2 days later than those who exercised immediately or not at all. The reason that tires are black and not another color is because of the chemical that's added to the tires called carbon black. It's added to protect tires against ozone and UV damage, and it drastically prolongs the life of any tire, which is why all tire manufacturers use it. Researchers from the UK's Manchester Metropolitan University found that mice don't really like cheese as much as we think. They much more prefer fruit and grains. The rumor of them liking cheese so much was spread via pop culture and cartoons. Summer on the planet Uranus lasts 42 years long, followed by 42 years of winter. It's Earth's tilt that gives us our seasons, but Uranus's is significantly more on its side in relation to its poles, hence the length of its seasons. There's a place in Arizona called the Boneyard that is the final resting place of about 3,000 military aircraft, some of them up to 60 years old. They literally just sit there and are gradually harvested for spare parts over time. There's a very rare illness called Klein-Levin syndrome, or Sleeping Beauty syndrome, where those affected sleep for up to 20 hours per day for days, weeks, or even months at a time, only waking to use the washroom or eat. Flamingos are pink because the algae and crustaceans like shrimp and prawns that they eat contain pigments called carotenoids. Their liver breaks down the carotenoids into pink and orange pigment molecules that get deposited in their feathers, bill, and legs. You can actually reshape some babies' ears. Some of them have a condition called liddling, where the top part of the cartilage in the ear is basically folded over so the top ridge is kind of rounded over. However, there's actually a mold called earwell that can change the shape of your baby's ear in approximately 6 weeks. There are more bicycles than people in Copenhagen and 5 times as many bicycles as cars. Over 50% of city dwellers commute by bicycle, and over 41% arrive at their place of work or study by bike. Monkey brains are considered a delicacy in parts of South Asia, Africa, and China. They're considered an easily digestible substance, often given to invalids and children, and there are even entire cookbooks dedicated on how to cook them. It takes Pluto 241 years to orbit the sun. That's because Pluto orbits at an average distance of 3.7 billion miles from the sun, while Earth only orbits at 93 million miles. Octopuses will actually break off a limb as part of a fight to to impress a mate or to get away from a predator. They will also eat their own arms once in a while, which some scientists believe may be due to a disease of some sort. The 7 rays on the Statue of Liberty's crown stand for each of the 7 continents. They each measure 9 feet long and weigh as much as 150 pounds. In addition, its overall height is 305 feet from its base and has a 35-foot waistline and weighs 225 tons. Cuba has a 99.8% literacy rate, one of the highest in the whole world. When flying in a flock, flamingos can fly as fast as 35 miles per hour. They may seem clumsy in flight, however, because their long necks stretch out in front of their bodies and their long legs dangle well past their short tails. The first electric traffic light was installed on August 5th, 1914 on the corner of Euclid Avenue and East 105th Street in Cleveland, Ohio. Based on the design by James Hodge, who received a US patent for his municipal traffic control system, it consisted of 4 pairs of red and green lights that served as stop and go indicators, each mounted on a corner post. In California, there's a law that prohibits a vehicle without a driver to exceed 60 miles per hour. Companies like Google, who make autonomous cars, have the technology to make them go much faster, but must limit them based on this law. On September 13th, 1916, the town of Irwin, Tennessee, hung an elephant nicknamed Murderous Mary because she mauled one of her keepers to death. It required a massive crane to accomplish and was done because hangings and lynchings were a popular form of justice at the time. The automotive industry used to use sperm whale oil to lubricate new cars. In fact, the stuff works so well that huge mammals were actually hunted almost to extinction, so the US declared sperm whales an endangered species and switched to the new whale-free automatic transmission fluid. Believe it or not, you can determine the temperature outside by counting the chirps made by crickets. According to the Farmer's Almanac, to convert cricket chirps to Celsius, you count the number of chirps in 25 seconds, divide by 3, then add 4 to get the temperature. The 31st president of the United States, Herbert Hoover, spent none of his salary on himself and instead gave it away to charities or as income supplements to his associates. There's something called a moonbow or lunar rainbow that's a rainbow that can be seen at night and happens very rarely. In order for this to happen, a full moon is needed, it must be raining opposite to the moon, the sky must be dark, and the moon must be less than 42 degrees high. There's a law in Pacific Grove, California that prohibits the molesting of monarch butterflies. Seriously. Ordinance 11.48.010 states that it is declared to be unlawful for any person to molest or interfere with in any way the peaceful occupancy of the monarch butterfly on their annual visit to the city of Pacific Grove, and goes on like that for several more sentences. The longest solar eclipse in the 21st century lasted 6 minutes and 39 seconds, and it won't be surpassed in duration until the eclipse of June 13th, 2132. Venus and Uranus are the only planets that rotate clockwise. The other 6 planets in the solar system rotate counterclockwise. Lobsters are able to regenerate lost eyes, claws, and antennae. You can also determine the gender of a lobster by looking at its swimmerets, the small feathery appendages on the underside of its tail. The first pair of swimmerets closest to the body are hard and bony on a male and soft and feathery on a female. It is illegal in Mobile, Alabama to possess confetti. It's also illegal to store, use, manufacture, sell, offer for sale, give away, or even handle confetti. Pope Francis broke a record when he hit 1 million Instagram followers within 12 hours of starting the account. The previous record was set by David Beckham at 1 million within 24 hours. He christened the account on a Saturday with a photo of him kneeling in prayer with an accompanying message that said, "Pray for me," in 9 languages. Before Samuel L. Jackson became a movie star, he was Bill Cosby's camera stand-in on The Cosby Show. Gonna touch your butt with some Jello pudding. Leonardo da Vinci was dyslexic. Also, strangely, not because of his dyslexia, he chose to write all of his notes to himself backwards in mirror writing, meaning that you can only read them in the reflection of a mirror. However, notes that he wrote to other people, he wrote in a normal direction. In Albania, nodding your head means no and shaking your head means yes. A human taste bud has an average lifespan of 7 to 10 days. Taste bud cells undergo continual turnover even into adulthood, but taste buds in rats last from 2 days to over 3 weeks. There were 13 couples celebrating their honeymoon on the Titanic. However, none of them survived upon impact and the subsequent sinking of the boat. Dogs love the herb anise the same way that cats love catnip. In fact, anise is the scent on the artificial rabbit that is used in greyhound races to get the dogs to run. The hardest bone in the human body is the jawbone. Also known as the mandible, it's also the largest and strongest bone in the human face. Believe it or not, you consume 1/10 of a calorie by licking a US stamp, but if you were to lick a stamp in Britain, it's 5.9 calories per lick, and the adhesive on a larger commemorative or special British stamp contains a whopping 14.5 calories. Camels actually have 3 eyelids to protect their eyes from blowing sand. The upper and lower eyelids have eyelashes. However, there's a third one that's a thin membrane that they can see through even in a sandstorm. On July 5th, 1996, the first mammal ever was successfully cloned. Dolly the sheep was cloned from an adult cell at the Roslin Institute in Scotland. She was named after Dolly Parton because she was cloned from a mammary cell. Well, at least that's a better name than her codename 6LL3. Doesn't ring the same bell. Mosquitoes can detect carbon dioxide from 75 feet away. In fact, that's how they find their victims, specifically you. A galactic year, also known as a cosmic year, is the duration of a complete rotation of the Milky Way, which is approximately 200 million terrestrial years. The human aorta is the largest artery in the human body and is about the size of a garden hose. There's a dog breed called Basenji that doesn't have the ability to bark. It can produce a yodeling howl sound though. It's a small to medium-sized, square-shaped animal that is believed to be bred intentionally without the ability to bark. Gatorade was named after the Florida Gators. In 1965, a team of university physicians in Florida were approached by a University of Florida's assistant football coach because he wanted to find out why his players were being affected by the heat and heat-related illnesses. They ended up creating the drink Gatorade that balanced carbohydrates and electrolytes. The first ever video to air on MTV was Video Killed the Radio Star by the Buggles on August 1st, 1981. That was over 36 years ago, and in fact, the very first original broadcast is on YouTube right now. There's afros and neon lights everywhere, I warn you. And now you're just a little bit smarter. As always, thank you guys so much for coming by today. Remember to come back on Monday and every weekday at exactly 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time because I'll have a brand new video for you. I'll see you next week.